One of the things that we always get asked about is how do I install a submersible well pump, how do I install a pressure tank, and how do I connect the two together? Well, you're in luck because today our engineer Andrew is actually setting up a system and is going to walk us through step by step of how to do exactly that. So we want to take you on a beginner-friendly, DIY-friendly installation, and you're going to join me. So come on, let's go. Let's walk over to the setup that Andrew has ready for us. Come on. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going, Valerie?
Okay, so today this is exciting. We're actually doing an installation with our pressure tank and our submersible pump. Give me a little overview of what people are seeing here, because there's actually quite a bit going on.
Yeah. So this is a pretty typical setup for somebody, for a homeowner who is not part of a municipal water system. We have our well and well casing right here. We have our pressure tank, a pressure switch to turn on and off the pump. In a later part of the video, we're going to show you the starter box, and those are the main components that are going to be part of the water system that provides water and pressure to your house.
Okay, great, perfect. That's a really easy overview for somebody to understand. The first step that we're going to take is hooking up our breaker box electrical power into our pressure switch. As you can see right here, we're going to pan over to our pressure switch and the wiring that we have all set up. Andrew, take us through how we're going to wire this pressure switch up.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, so first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that your power is disconnected and that you're not working with live conductors. And what we're dealing with today is we have a 240 volt input. We have a 3-wire and a ground pump that's going to operate off that. It's going to come in first to the pressure switch. The pressure switch is detecting the pressure in your incoming line, and it's deciding whether or not the system needs to be sending power to the pump or not. What we'll do now is we're going to feed power into the pressure switch.
Okay.
And then we're going to set some fork terminals on there, and then we're going to continue the connection all the way up into the starter box, which is going to be mounted up here.
Great, so this thing comes off. This is just a cap.
Yeah, so this is a cover plate. So underneath this cover, you're going to notice that there's 2 sets of contacts. It's best practices to open and close both hot contacts, as well as right down here is going to be your ground, where you're going to make a connection between your incoming ground wire and the pressure switch.
Great, so green is ground, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what you just match up.
Yep.
And then the red and the black, they're interchangeable? It doesn't matter if you put them on contact 1, contact 2?
The main place that you need to worry about is where you place them inside your starter box. So what you can see is that there are 4 sets of contacts. Okay, and when the pressure switch opens and closes, it opens and closes these sets of terminals right here. And those close the connection between adjacent screws. So that means if you have an incoming hot wire coming in here and your other hot wire is coming right here, it's going to short it out and it's going to trip your breaker. You need to have both of your incoming hot wires on separate sets of contacts. So there's one set of contacts right here dealing with these two screws, and then there's another set of contacts right here dealing with these sets. So your incoming hot wires, hot 1, needs to come on in on either this one or this one, and then hot 2, either this one or this one, and then finally your ground is going to make a connection down here to ground your pressure switch. So yeah, now what we'll do is we already peeled back our insulating jacket from our service wire. We're going to feed it through the grommet here. We're going to set some fork terminals on here, and then we're going to go and put it on. Yep.
Okay, so we'll show you a little close-up and kind of speed through it for just connecting the wire, and then we'll move on to the next step. Oh, yeah, you got to put those wires through the side. Some people put them through the middle, and that's the first mistake that you're going to make. So this is like the pro tip of making sure that you put your wires through the side. That's going to be all weatherproofing. It'll keep out the bugs. It'll keep out the water. And so you're putting on fork terminals. Those fork terminals are another like pro tip that we utilize.
Just give them a nice positive connection to the location where you're placing the screw. You know, given the fact that these are 10 gauge wires. There's other screw terminals, like let's say in the starter box, that will allow a stranded wire. But in this case, it's best to use the proper terminal for the location that it needs to be set.
Now, technically, you could connect the bare wire here, but this is like the cleanest, most professional way of doing things. So that's what we're trying to ascribe to, is giving you best practices to be able to use in your home DIY installation.
Yeah, and also make sure to strip your conductor to the proper length to make sure that it's not protruding into the location where the fork terminal needs to land underneath your screw terminals.
Great tip. Okay, so there goes hot 1. And then Andrew's going to connect up to hot 2.
Bend it down and get some clearance underneath the enclosure. And then we'll just do a quick test fit for the first wire that we run in. So it's all good. And now we're ready to move on to the next part.
So that was step 1. What are we going to move on to step 2, Andrew?
The next step is going to be making this connection from the pressure switch up to your starter box, and then completing that finally onto the drop wire.
Cool. Yeah. And your starter box can go on a wooden stake if you want to. It can go on the wall of a building, but Andrew just mocked up this holder for a starter box out here. I mean, we're in the back of the property. We don't have a whole lot of infrastructure back here, so this is a great way to keep things nice and neat and tidy.
This is the starter box. This is for a 3/4 horse. You may have a different size starter box, but essentially it's going to be about the same. You're going to have 2 hot wires coming in along with your ground that's going to connect to your box. And then finally you're going to have your 3 hot wires coming out of the starter box going down the well.
Cool, so we're going to take the face off of the box, because this comes apart into 2 pieces.
Yeah, in this case, the guts of the starter box go with the lid. With some of the larger systems, a lot of this stuff you're going to find on the inside right here.
Okay, and so then we're going to hang this thing up to here.
Correct.
So we have a self-driving screw that got placed in here, and that's really all you need to hang your starter box.
Just 2 screws. So the top is going to be slotted. And like I said, we can already just drop that right on there and then tighten it down.
Boom.
And then we got our second one down here ready to go.
Great. We're stabilized.
Yep.
And so now we're going to take some wiring. And what kind of wiring do we have that you're going to be using to connect the pressure switch to the starter box?
This is just a 2-pole service wire. This has, some customers may have a direct burial wire. Some of them may have wire coming in from conduit. So connections from the pressure switch to the starter box may be different for everybody depending on how far along your system is in terms of installation and whether or not you already have something there.
Yeah.
But I'll direct your eyes to the terminals right here. This is going to be universal across all starter boxes that we sell. Right here we have the 2 hot wires coming in, line 1, line 2. That's going to be your red and black wire coming from your pressure switch. And then right here, after it goes through the start capacitor and start relay located on the inside of the cover, it's going to come out right here. You're going to have your common, which is your yellow. You can see that it's labeled red, yellow, black, and then your 2 other windings, red for your start winding and black for your running winding.
Awesome. And so we're using what kind of gauge wire today? We're using
in this case, this is 10 gauge wire. It's a little bit oversized for our application, but it's just what we had around.
And then the other thing is conduit. That's the tubing that you would put on the outside of your wiring, especially if you're using like the direct burial stuff. That's going to help protect it from weather, but it's also going to mainly protect it from animals. And they love to chew through wires, rats, bunnies, sometimes deer. We are doing a non-conduit installation just to help you visualize everything a little bit more, but the conduit will be very useful in a longer term installation.
Yeah. So same thing, we're going to be pulling the 2 hots and the ground through the grommet right here. We're going to be installing some fork terminals, and then we're going to be bringing it up to line 1 and line 2 right here.
completed that step, and we're on to the next step, which is connecting our 10 gauge wire up to our starter box.
Yep.
Okay.
So in this case, all the wiring's done right here, and then when the lid of this starter box drops down and sets into place, it's going to make all these connections via these little terminals right here on the starter box. So your system's not going to operate until you get this installed. Again, don't work with live wires or conductors while you're doing this kind of work. Okay, so we're going to bring the wire around, pull it up into the starter box. And this is just our strain relief for this connection into the starter box.
Now, Andrew, how many inches long did you make those wire cuts, the available wires? That's probably about 4 inches long.
Yeah, I'll strip these a little bit further. They're going to be about 1/4 inch to set the fork terminals on, and that's going to be about the same strip length that you're going to be using to install into line 1 and line 2 if you're just installing bare stranded wire into the line 1 and line 2 terminals. In this case, it's appropriate because there is a backing plate on it, whereas you'd still probably want to use a fork terminal for this connection right here.
Got it.
So we're going to go ahead and, just since it's easy right here, before we start moving the cables around, we're going to strip the wire back and put our fork terminals in.
Okay, Andrew, so as a reminder to those watching at home and following along, we are connecting the black wire to L1, the red wire to L2, and then we're connecting our green wire to our ground screw.
Yep, so that's what we're doing right now. We don't need to tighten it down all the way because we're going to have an additional ground coming from our pump, and it's going to be connecting to that very same spot. Okay, so we'll go ahead and loosen up our L1 and L2 terminals. We'll bring them around, and then we'll drop them in right at these 2 spots.
All right, Andrew, we're getting to the exciting part. We're about to start wiring and plumbing up our submersible pump. So I think the first thing that we're going to move on to doing is connecting our submersible pump up.
Yep.
And then, because the submersible pump, if you don't know, comes in 2 parts, a motor end and a pump end. And then we'll wire our submersible pump up to our submersible flat jacketed cabling that Andrew is holding. Mm-hmm. And like you said, this is 12 gauge for 3/4 horsepower, more than enough if you have a bigger horsepower pump, because this installation applies to a lot of horsepowers of pumps, from 1/2 horsepower all the way up to 5 horsepower and even above. The general installation follows this path. What can I help with? Is there anything I can help with?
Yeah, I mean, we can, you want to help me open up this bag right here that has the splice kit with the shrink tubing.
I got this open for you.
Yep.
There you go. These plastic tubes look like this. I'll bring one of these forward. This is what you want to put on your wire before you do anything else. You're going to put it over the wire, just like Andrew's doing right there. It's another one.
And you can put this on the pump side or the drop wire side.
All right, and then you need the clamps. Or the crimps, I should say.
The butt crimps.
Butt crimps. Okay, so here's your first butt crimp. Our roll of submersible pump wire, and he's going to do that for each one of those strands. And then we'll connect up what we call the pigtail of the motor. It's about a 6-foot strand of wire that emanates directly from the motor end of the submersible pump.
Okay.
Great. And we usually give a tug on each one of those just to make sure that they're nice and snug.
All good.
All good. Okay, great. So we finished up the splice. We're going to move on to putting the pump together next, right?
Yeah, this is our the step where we mate the pump end to the motor. You can see we've made our connection here, and this connection is going to be, you know, aligned up near the drop pipe.
Yeah.
And from here, we're going to take off our bolts that come attached to the motor. We're going to slip those off. Make sure you don't miss the split washers located on one of the studs right here. You're going to pull all those off, and then you're going to mate the pump end to the motor, and then we're going to put on the protective sheath.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that bottom part that you're holding right now is the motor end.
Yep.
And then you're about to put the pump end on top.
Yep. For submersible borehole pumps, usually the motor is located down below the water line, and then the pump itself is directly connected via this spline drive to the shaft on the bottom of the pump. This is where the intake is located on one of these types of pumps. You can see there's a very simple screen right there to make sure any large debris that can clog or jam up your pump shaft is protected. And then we're going to go ahead and drop it on. And then sometimes when you're making this connection, it's helpful to get your fingers in here and make some slight adjustments so that you can align the splines on the receiver right here with the motor down below.
Andrew, we're back to the next step.
All right.
Tell me about it.
After a little rain out, we are assembling the top end, the pump, to the motor. So at this step, what we do is we'll just drop this on, and as we're dropping it onto the splines of the motor, we're going to just go ahead and give it a little twist and make sure everything's aligned, and then we're going to drop it down.
Nice, and that motor spline is the thing that the motor's actually turning to get the internals of the pump end to move.
Yep.
So that's what's shoving water up to the surface.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that looks settled, right?
Yeah. So for this next step, what we're going to do is we're going to bolt on the pump end to the motor, and we'll just use our split washers and place the split washers on first on each of the studs, and then we're going to put the bolt down, and then we'll tighten it down after we finger tight it.
Some people might look at these bolts and washers and go, is this going to be enough to hold my pump end and motor end together? And the easy answer is yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be careful about dropping it into the interior. You got to keep a nice, tight grip on those, but that's okay. It's pretty easy to just move on to the next one and shake it out. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So the split washer's still on there, and then we just drop it on. Give it another try. There we go. Yeah, so now that we've gotten everything finger tight, for the final step to get it fully fastened together, we're going to tighten it down with a wrench.
And for this one, we're using a 13 millimeter.
Yeah. You can also use a 9/16. There we go.
Well, so now that we've attached those washers and bolts, we're going to move on to a really small, just little protection method for your wires, which is called, I think it's called a wire sheath, right?
Yeah.
Stainless steel wire sheath. You attach that and your wires don't get rubbed on from, you know, your well or installation.
Yeah. So we'll grab the pieces right here. It'll have a 2 Phillips head screws, and then the wire protector right here.
And this comes with your pump and every kit. And then I'll hold this for you.
There you go. Thank you.
While you work on installing it.
So what we'll do next is we'll lay that down, and then we're going to just gather the wires up and run it up the side. We're going to flatten it out. We're going to make sure that the black abrasion protector right here is snug up and bottomed out on the wires. And then we're going to take them and flatten them against the pump end, and then we can drop this on right here. And then we're ready to screw it on.
It takes a little bit of finagling.
Yeah.
But
so we'll get it.
Very straightforward so that your wires don't get injured or nicked. You've done all the hard work up to this point. This is really important to install. We are moving on to one of the more exciting parts of this installation, which is getting the plumbing fittings installed on the pump.
Yep.
You've got a couple of plumbing fittings in your hands right there. Could you
Here we go.
explain to the viewer what each one of these is and how they work, especially that check valve?
Yeah, so the first one is the nipple. This is going to connect from the top end of your pump to the check valve that you'll install at the very top. This is a check valve that will prevent backflow down into the well and maintain the pressure in what will be eventually tied into your pressure tank and house pressure. And then finally, of course, the barb fitting, which will connect on the outlet of the check valve, and this will transition to the poly pipe, which will complete the drop down the well.
Great. So you're gonna install these, and I'll talk a little bit about like the importance of check valves in a system while we do so.
Sure. Yeah. The first thing I'm going to do is I'll put some Teflon tape on this nipple here. I've already done it for this barb fitting. And then once I get the Teflon tape on, we'll be able to spin these fittings on.
Now, what kind of Teflon tape are we using today? It's a little bit of a special type of Teflon tape that RPS carries because we use stainless steel fittings. And we like stainless steel because not only does it prevent, dislike metals from separate parts, right? You're using a brass piece fitting to a stainless steel or a steel fitting, so it prevents electrolysis.
Yeah.
But they're also just high quality, they last a really long time, and the added feature is they look great. They're very shiny, very silvery, but you do want to be using a specific type of Teflon tape to get the best watertight seals, and this is the one that I'm talking about. Maybe you can give that like a close-up to the camera of what the Teflon tape looks like.
Yeah, this is a gray high build Teflon tape that we use that both lubricates and seals the threads on these stainless fittings. It works really great.
Yeah, those threads on the stainless steel fittings are super sharp and like super well molded. So you need something special to help maintain that watertight fit. So how many rolls of Teflon tape do you usually put on a single?
I do usually around 3 to 5 wraps around.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you want to be focusing on really the edge that's going to be hitting the other edge of the other plumbing fitting.
Yeah, just so it's lined up and make sure it doesn't overlap the edge of the fitting so you don't get loose threads getting into your plumbing system.
Incredible. Okay.
It's really slippery, so once you get a couple wraps on it, you don't have to hold it anymore, but until you get like 1 or 2, you just want to kind of hold it and make sure it doesn't slip out while you're rolling it on.
And you just do this once, you don't have to go back in and do it again.
Yeah, and just make sure that you're wrapping it in a clockwise fashion. If you do it the other way, it'll just start to bunch up and it won't lay into the threads.
Oh, good tip. That's a great pro tip.
So, all right, well, we got this nipple done, and then we also already have the barb fitting finished. So we'll be ready to assemble the top end plumbing fittings for the installation.
Let's do it. I can't wait to see this. So there goes the threaded nipple on first.
Make sure you don't cross thread it. It's pretty easy to do with these kinds of sharp threads. So now we'll just put on the check valve. And then just mind the direction of the arrow and make sure that the arrow on the check valve right here is pointed in the upward direction. That indicates that the flow is restricted to that direction, which is up towards the surface.
And this is where we recommend, this is like another pro tip of ours, is we recommend putting a check valve right off of the pump itself. Like that is the standard move for industry and for any DIY installation.
Yep. So finally we'll put on the barb fitting and then we'll start to get the wrench on and tighten everything up.
All of these are 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and then this hose barb is 1 1/4 inch to 1 inch because we're going to be using 1 inch poly today.
This is a pretty low volume application, so we're going to be using just 1 inch. It's not very deep either, and so this is the appropriate diameter for the poly that we're going to be using.
Great, let's take a wrench and tighten it up. So you're using 1 wrench to basically hold the pump, and then another one to tighten everything down.
Yeah.
Got it.
Here we go. So we'll just check our threads and make sure we're getting everything closed up. So we've got about 3 or 4 threads of engagement. which should be suitable for this.
All right, so now it's time to play with the flamethrower, and we're gonna warm up our poly pipe.
Yep.
It may take a minute depending on where you are in the US and what season you're installing this in. This poly pipe might be colder, or like we've laid it out in the sun for a little while, unwrapped it, unwound it, and it's a little bit warmer. You're gonna want to warm it up so that it's not melted, but just malleable enough that you're gonna be able to push it over this hose barb right here. So, Andrew, will you do the honors?
Yeah, we'll put the hose clamps on first.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
And then flame on.
Now you wanna use both hose clamps. That's an important part here, is that we usually use 2 hose clamps on the poly pipe. And again, you don't want any bubbling. That means you've stayed in one place for too long trying to warm up the pipe. Always keep the flame moving. Ah, I see some movement there, so we're getting close.
Getting a little softer.
This is my personal favorite part of the installation, is whenever I can use a blowtorch.
Yeah.
You may be good. You want to try it out?
Yeah, it's pretty warm now.
I will hold the pump.
You want to angle it that way so
Yeah.
that get it on.
Oh, I think this
And
will
then
be
we're
easy.
going to push it down.
Look at this! Now this is an extended barb, so it takes a little extra effort to push it over.
In this case, you can get it down all the way, but that's plenty of bite for this situation where we're only about 50 feet down.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and place our clamps and tighten it down over this location.
That's the beauty of the extended barb, is you can go down all the way to the edge of the barb, but really you only need a couple of bites biting into that poly pipe and it's locked on.
We're going to go ahead and tighten down our hose clamps. So we're going to just drop those down, get them into place.
Here you go. Hold
Yeah,
this.
thank you. There we go. And that's done.
Wow. That took like 10 minutes.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
Yeah.
So what we'll do from here is we're going to connect and tape our wire up to our drop pipe, and then it'll be time to install it down the well.
Yeah, so we're gonna use electrical tape, right?
Yeah.
So we'll grab that from our tool bag and then we'll show you our tried and tested method of where to put electrical tape to connect your poly pipe and wire as a bundle. Oh, one thing that we are forgetting is safety rope.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go get it real quick.
Okay. All right, Andrew, we've located some safety rope. This is just a marine grade polypropylene rope that's not gonna degrade when it's in contact with water for a long time. And you're gonna show us how to tie it off on the top of the pump. This is so that just in case anything happens, your pump does not fall down the well and you have to retrieve it. This is gonna be an easy retrieval tool.
So we're just gonna go ahead and find one of those eyelets at the top of the pump end, and we'll feed it through, and then we'll just tie it off with a knot.
Andrew sails, so he has extraordinary knot tying abilities. Ooh, look at that. What's this knot called?
This is just a bowline.
Nice. And if you really want to, you can take that torch and you can melt off the end of that rope if you want to. Some people do, some people don't. It's not a big deal. Okay, Andrew, so now we are on to the top of well plumbing. That's gonna include our well seal and connecting up to our poly pipe. And so where's the other end of our poly pipe that we've got over here?
It's right over here.
Okay. So we're gonna pull this thing out, and this is gonna connect up to essentially a hose barb, threaded nipple, well seal, and then a T at the top of the well, right?
Yep.
Okay. So actually we're gonna loosen up the bolts on this well seal first, put all the plumbing through, and then connect it up to the poly pipe. All right, so this is a stainless steel, I believe this is a 4-inch, yes, it's a 4-inch well. And what a well seal is made out of is 3 layers, essentially, which is a bottom plate, a top plate, and in the middle of the hockey puck looking well seal is this big rubber gasket. and the two plates are tightened down and held together by 4 tightening screws, and you have to loosen those up so that you can stick a threaded nipple, this thing, through the middle of it, and that'll allow you to make connections above the well seal and below the well seal. You want to do the honors? Should be pretty easy to push it through, just a little bit of force, but if you can't get it to push through the other side, loosen up the bolts a little bit more and just repeat the process. If you're having some issues, maybe you don't have a really good grip strength, you can use a little bit of leverage, where Andrew's gonna demo right now, that you can push.
We'll just take the nipple and then we just push it down and then just align it.
And get it to sit over the blank side of the nipple.
Yeah, so helps you with a little bit of accuracy if you're not quite strong enough to do it, just brute forcing it through.
Yep.
Great, so now we can tighten down the...
We're gonna put on the thread tape and dress all the fittings that we need to assemble, and then we'll tighten everything down.
Okay, so what's the next fitting that you're gonna put on?
We're gonna do the thread tape.
Ah, thread tape, sorry.
So now we're gonna go ahead and put on our female fittings right here. On the bottom, which is gonna connect to the barb fitting, is gonna be the coupler. Again, 1 1/4. And then on the top side, there will be a T that will support all the weight of the pump and drop wire and poly pipe. There's lots of different ways to put it on. You can either put it on this way, or you can put it on vertically. In this case, we can put it on vertically like this. And then finally, we'll install our other fittings, the 1 1/4 inch cap and the barb fitting on the other side.
It's so important to use something like 304 stainless steel, because this is what's helping hold up your pump. Not only just the well seal balancing on your well casing, but also your plumbing.
Yeah, minimizing corrosion is key to making sure that everything stays together over time.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well put.
Yeah. Now what we've got everything threaded on, we're just going to go ahead and get some wrenches out and tighten this all up, and then we'll be ready to install it on the poly pipe.
We are done with our above ground plumbing, and we're about to hook it up to the other side of the poly pipe. I'm going to hold this for you while you grab the poly pipe, and then we're going to have to go through the same process that we did for the bottom of the poly pipe of warming it up with the blowtorch.
So we'll go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to put our hose clamps on first, and then we'll hold them in place as we get everything installed.
We'll speed through this for you, since you've already basically seen how to get this technique right on the other side of the poly pipe.
So we got our poly pipe all warmed up, and now we're going to install it onto the top of the well seal assembly. Drop it down.
Go, 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 yeah!
All right. Yeah, so now
More than enough.
We'll go ahead and we'll tighten our hose clamps down.
We are so close to being able to drop this pump down the well.
To prevent any possible chance of chafing, you also want to make sure that your hose clamps don't align with where your wiring is going to be coming out. So we got that set on this side. Our wire is going to be coming up on this side of the well seal assembly.
So we are onto the step where we place the wire and thread it through the intended well seal hole. Boom, Andrew's already got it through. Okay, so now that we've pulled the wire through our well seal, the next thing you're going to want to do, just to double check that all of the lengths look correct next to each other and you're not coming up short on, your wire or poly pipe, is just lay everything out on flat ground, kind of pull the wire until it feels like it matches the poly pipe, but leave a little bit of slack in the wire because you don't want it to be just completely taut. There needs to be at least a little bit, maybe just a couple feet of kind of slack to allow for some give, especially because the poly pipe is going to expand a little bit over time as it just hangs in the well.
Our next step is going to be to begin taping the wire to the drop pipe. We'll get some electrical tape right here, and we'll begin transitioning. Again, watch out for any kind of hose clamps that might be in the way. It's also a good idea to wrap the hose clamps as well. Make sure they're not chafing or damaging anything in the well.
10 feet, put some electrical tape. You could expand that out to 20 feet, but if you want to be nice and neat, every 10 feet, a roll of electrical tape on your bundle is a good idea.
So now that we got that protected, we're going to go ahead and wire up our pump wire, bring it up alongside the check valve. Make sure that you're not taping it into any sharp edges. Allow these transitions to occur smoothly, and you're not causing chafing along any of the fittings.
Great. And so we're just going to repeat this process about every 10-ish feet.
Yeah, so we'll add a little bit more just to allow the transition to occur. But once we jump out to our flat jacket cable and go over the longer distances, yeah, it definitely makes sense to extend it so you're not doing it every too frequently.
Plus, you'd run out of electrical tape at that point if you.
Yeah.
Back in with you once we finish the rest of our roll, and then we'll be putting the pump down the well.
Thing we have to do is drop the safety rope. We have to feed it through the well seal assembly, and then when we're ready to drop it down the well.
Okay, so we're gonna get some close-ups of that, and then in the meantime, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the well itself that we have here today. So this is a 4-inch casing. It's using PVC. We don't exactly know how old this well is, but we know that it has some sand at the bottom of it, needs a little bit of a cleaning out, and it was being used for the residential property that is here behind us. We know that the well is probably about 75 feet deep, and the water level, the static water level, the top of the water is only about 25 feet down from where I'm standing. So it should be a very easy drop of the submersible pump down there. We're really only dropping it to like 40 feet maximum today so that we can avoid that sandy bottom that we know is there. Usually though, if you're installing your submersible well pump, 20 feet off the bottom minimum is the best strategy for you. You can always place the pump higher up though in the well if you have a really large water column.
So we've got the end of our poly pipe and the well seal assembly with the flat jacket cable attached. What we're going to do now is we're going to feed it our safety rope through one of these accessory bungs right here on the side of the well seal.
What did you call it? An accessory bung?
Yeah, just an extra location for other things like low well sensors and other items like that that may require wiring. In this case, we're utilizing it for the rope here. What we'll do is real quick, we'll tie it off to a solid structure. Maybe we can use that T-post. Maybe that T-post right over there.
Great.
So that way, if anything happens, we at least have one line of defense, and then we'll get started with dropping it down.
I'm just gonna do a basic tie if that's okay.
That
just
works.
A basic
it's just
tie
temporary.
I'll just do a double knot, and that should be sufficient for if anything happens.
Okay. Now we're just going to get things organized, and we'll be ready to drop it down.
All right, Andrew, we're about to drop the pump down
Here we
the
go.
well. Here we go. All right, and it's going faster now.
Hey, this isn't so bad for me. How bad is it for you?
This is really easy for me. I mean,
All right.
It doesn't feel like I'm really holding much of anything.
All right, there we go. I think we just hit water right there.
I heard it too.
I heard it too.
I heard a little boom.
There we go. I hear some sloshing. And now we're in the water.
And there does seem to be different techniques that you can do. You could do the
Yep.
let it go slowly, or you could kind of do the hand over fist motion. Both seem to be working just fine. Oh my gosh, Andrew, it's about to happen. I'm gonna give the big shot. Wow.
There we go.
We did it.
Just in case anything happens, we'll go ahead and take out some of the slack on our safety rope. Now that we have our well seal assembly in place, we're going to make some minor adjustments to align everything up, get the cables out so they're not in the way of our plumbing, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to tighten and compress the 2 plates of the well seal, and that's going to squeeze that gasket, and it's going to spread it against the inner sidewalls of the well casing, and it'll keep it in place and closed up.
Nice. All right, so while he is tightening the gasket down, I'll explain what we're doing next then, which is we're moving on to the final stage of wiring for our submersible pump. We're going to cut down our submersible pump wire. We've got a little extra here, which is nice to have. You don't want to just buy an exact length of what you need. Get a little bit extra, because you never know what environmental factors are going to happen when we finally get out to the well install.
Okay. So now that we have our well seal all tightened up, we're going to just take our flat jacket cable. We're going to leave about 4 inches on the inside of the starter box of loose wire. So we're going to cut down a little extra, and then just to account for stretch and some of those unknown situations, we're going to leave a little bit of extra. So we're going to go ahead and drop it down, and then we're going to leave about 4 inches of extra wire, and we're going to cut it right here, and then we're going to start to cut back the flat jacket cable. When you do it, you want to make sure that you're not cutting into the inner insulation. What I like to do is I like to bend it and then just apply some short, soft cuts into it and find out how deep the cuts need to go. And if you bend it like that, you can start to see where the jacket is starting to show up, and then we can work on the sides. And this just ensures that you're not cutting into the most essential conductors inside the system, and you're preventing any possibility of shorts inside your wiring and enclosure.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you then when you're all done cutting that jacketing off, and we'll show you the final wiring for the starter box.
Sure. Right. Okay, so now that we've stripped back the wires from our drop wire, we are going to strip it back to the bare conductors. But before we do that, we're going to be inserting it into the right side of our starter box, down from the bottom. Again, most of the guts of the starter box are located on the cover on this particular model, so we got a lot of room to work with in here. But just keep in mind that when you finally do have everything in place, you're going to want to make sure that none of your wiring's protruding into this area of the enclosure, because that's where a lot of the elements of the starter box are located on final install.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and bring it back behind our stand here. We're going to feed it through. So one thing we just need to make sure we do is we have enough room, and we've cut enough of our jacket off to make it over to our ground point. So this is more than sufficient. And then the last 3 wires, you can see we have our black that's going to land over here, yellow for the middle, and then red for the first set of terminals right here. Okay, so we're here at the final part of our tie-in. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be connecting the 3-wire and a ground flat jacket cable to the starter box. Again, we have black, yellow, and red, and then ground down here to make the final tie-in. Now we'll tuck our wires. Another place to watch out and make sure you don't have one of your conductors right here where one of the fasteners for the front cover is going to be coming in. You don't want to pierce the insulation. Now we're ready to place the cover on, and then we can do the final tie-in with the plumbing.
Okay, we're going to put the faceplate of the starter box on now, right?
Yeah. So all we have to do is make sure that these tabs right here are aligned, and then we will drop it on right here. And then just again, as part of the installation process, these little teeth right here will drop onto these contacts and fit into place and complete the circuit as soon as we place it on.
Okay. So technically, if, and we're saying that you should have your electricity off right now, but if you made this connection, your pump would technically be live.
All right.
Okay, so the last thing that we have to do is finish off the plumbing connection from this to this part.
Yep.
And then we're going to turn on the system and see some water.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Okay, you're gonna take some PVC and sort of measure this out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll just put this right here.
And you're using some nice unions to just easily connect everything up.
Okay.
So you're just trying to eyeball it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
From level to level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go right here. So we should have just enough for that. We'll make that cut right here.
Okay, so Andrew, you grabbed your glue, quote unquote, but what specifically is this and why is this going to work best for PVC?
This is just PVC cement. Sometimes if you're disconnecting and reconnecting pieces, this one's useful because you can use it in wet or dry circumstances. However, you do have to watch out because it does have a very short working time. So you need to have all your pieces cut and then glue them, all at once. And yeah, that's basically the main thing that you need to watch out for.
And this is Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue PVC pipe cement. We can get a close-up of that if anybody is interested in knowing exactly what we're using. Great.
Okay.
And you don't need a ton of this. It's not supposed to be
No, I mean, I
gloppy.
usually wipe it off. The main thing that you need to watch for is coverage. If you're using maybe older pipe, you definitely want to make sure that you're applying a primer first. In this case, we're using like all brand new. The temperatures are quite cold right now, so it's going to have a slower set time. And then just as you're putting it on, you'll just give it a twist to make sure that as the glue becomes a little bit more viscous, that it doesn't drip everywhere and you get a nice even coverage on the fitting as you're placing it.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, so then all we need to do now is just make sure that we drop this down to the right height for the connection right here. And then the union down below will give us enough freedom to spin this on after we take it off and glue it, and we know where we need to place it.
Great, let's do it.
So there's enough of a gap here to account for a reducer bushing that we're going to be threading in right here in stainless, and then we're going to be transitioning to a simple PVC male adapter. So after we get it set on, there should be enough space right there to get everything connected and have enough space.
I bet people are wondering, are there any issues with connecting a stainless steel fitting to a PVC fitting?
No, as long as you use Teflon tape and close everything up. The threads are pretty standard across different industries, PVC or metals and materials. However, there are certain differences in the thread size, sometimes as a result of cooling during a machining process, or just maybe even like the age of the cutting bit. So it's best to just add enough Teflon tape. You can also use thread sealant as an additional precaution. With our thread sealant or thread tape, you really don't need to do that. You can just build it up maybe a couple more layers than what you normally would.
Okay, great.
And you'll get a feel for it. So I'll just do this last reducer bushing right here. This bushing right here will take us from the 1 1/4 inch diameter on the T-fitting down to the 1 inch that we're using for our plumbing on the skid right here. So we'll make sure that our thread tape is laid down. It's sometimes helpful to run your finger over it just to make sure it doesn't wad up or do anything while you're putting it on. And now we can go ahead, do the first piece spun on. Just make sure that you're not cross-threading again when you're placing it on, and just make sure that it's engaging correctly. All right, so we got it mostly hand tight, and then what we're going to do now is we're going to tilt it to the side, and then we're going to spin it onto our fitting right here, and then we'll be able to just roll it around and get it fitted, because we don't have too much weight on this right here.
So since we tightened everything else down beforehand, we actually have to just do it this other way. I can't believe it, but I think we've finished.
This is it. This is the last step.
All right.
Now we just need to flip the switch.
Okay, this is the exciting step that we've been waiting for, that we could actually get water from our well after we installed our well pump, pressure tank, wired everything up, plumbed everything up. So all we have to do is turn the breaker back on at this point, and then we can open up the valves. Okay, let's go do it.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks for watching our step-by-step installation of how to install a well pump and a pressure tank together. If you're interested in learning more, you can check out our other videos that are going to appear over here, or you can go to rpswaterpumps.com. See you in the next video.